Hi, everyone. So glad all of you could join us. And then hopefully those that couldn't join tonight, because we know it was kind of short notice, can watch the recording. So tonight we are hoping to go over or planning to go over the entry process for entering classes at the district or state horse show. For those of you that competed in the virtual horse show last summer, it'll be very similar. We're using the same online program for doing that. But those of you that didn't do the virtual horse show, if you'll watch this, it would be great because then we'll walk you through the different steps to go through that process. So to get started, I just wanted to start first by just some reminders about when everything is, and then some rules, and then we'll go through the actual online entry process of exactly how to fill that out. It's a little confusing in some places, and I tried to get rid of the confusion, but the program only allows us so many characters in places, so it was not the easiest to work with. But so our district horse show, so if you haven't already looked at the website, the dates of the district horse show are the 14th through the 18th. And again, your district horse show entries are due on May 7th, as well as your state horse show entries are due on May 7th. The Farner Park State 4-H horse show is July 10th through the 14th. And one big thing to notice is we did move the dates up. So we are starting check-in and hippology on Saturday, and the show is actually starting, our first horse show classes on Sunday. And then we're ending on Wednesday rather than ending on Thursday. So I will say it's confusing because normally I talk about the classes by the days and I keep saying the wrong days, but hopefully we'll get used to it. We're hoping this helps with some parents not having to take off both as many days during the week as they potentially would. So, and then also gets us in there a little bit sooner. Also at the State Horse Show, we do have some new classes. So we have Ranch Pleasure, which is also at the district horse shows. So Ranch Pleasure is at the district horse shows and at state. But then we also have added additional halter classes. So basically an aged halter class, starting at 11-year-old horses and older. And there's a mare and a geldings class. And then also there is the addition of an elementary division for our speed events. So that will also be at districts as well. So those are kind of the big class changes, but I just wanted a reminder of those. And then another big thing that I wanted to make sure I mention is we are definitely in need of volunteers for the State Horse Show. Every year we're in need of volunteers, but we will especially need them this summer with some of the health guidelines and things that we're potentially going to have to follow. We, at this point, do not know exactly what all that's going to be, other than we are pushing forward with an in-person show, but we may have to follow some specific guidelines. And so to do that, we will potentially need more volunteers than we normally do. So if you have an interest at all, please consider volunteering, running the gate, being a ring steward, handing out ribbons. There's all kinds of things that you could potentially do. Okay, so here's kind of the first step to getting registered and signed up for the State Horse Show is to complete your horse ID forms, which hopefully this is nothing new. And with the horse ID forms, we are doing this similar to how we've done in the past. So your horse ID forms are still need to be turned into your county office. So you can either please speak with your county office with how they would like to accept those. Potentially they'll let you mail them to them. You could email them, drop them off. But either way, you need to get your horse ID forms to your county office by the May 7th deadline. Then your county offices will be getting those to us. They are going to be submitting those to us online. But if any of you plan on showing your county fair, your county offices need them anyway. So turn in your horse ID forms to your counties. So that process has not changed. If you need, we did create an electronic horse ID form that you can fill out and insert pictures into, that you can find at the State Horse Expo webpage. And so you can go to that page. There's lots of additional information, but there is an ID forms on that page that you can use to fill out. Some other reminders I just wanted to quickly cover some of the rules that, somewhat new for some of these things, but a lot of them are similar to the past. But with the new entry process, families will be entering yourselves, so your youth, into an online program to enter and then pay your entries rather than taking your entry form to your county office. But with that, you won't necessarily have your county office or extension educator there to check your entry form to make sure you're signing up for the correct classes. So please do make sure you know the rules for what you can and cannot sign up for, so that you don't sign up for something you can't. So for the district horse shows, you need to make sure when you're filling out the online form, indicate which class you're signing up for. And we do have them split in there by elementary, junior, senior for the particular classes that have elementary, junior, senior. So that would be your Western Pleasure, your Western Horsemanship, Barrels, and Poles all have those 3 divisions. So elementary is 10 and 11-year-olds, juniors 12 to 14, and seniors are 15 and over. Then for Hunter to Saddle, Hunt Seat Equitation, and the new class Ranch Pleasure, those classes just have 2 age groups, so junior 10 to 14 and senior 15 and over. So make sure you realize that the junior age is combined for the English classes and the Ranch Pleasure, whereas the Western Pleasure, Western Horsemanship, Barrels, and Poles, there is a separate age group for those elementary age. And part of this is due to numbers. We have a lot more youth that compete in the Western Pleasure, Western Horsemanship, Barrels, and Poles, whereas our English classes are usually a lot smaller. So having them combined in those age groups, it's still a pretty reasonable size. And then our Range Pleasure is just new. Potentially we would add an age group if it's a really big class, but right now we just don't know what it's going to be like. So we're going to start with just the 2. So when you're signing up for the district horse shows, make sure that your youth have completed their level 2. It is required that they have passed their advancement level 2 by the May 7th deadline in order to sign up for any of the district classes. Another stipulation, which I should have put on this page, but I didn't, is the Ranch Pleasure. So currently youth can sign up and they can compete in all of the district classes. The only stipulation is they must ride a different horse for Western Pleasure and Ranch Pleasure. So you could not compete on the same horse in both those classes. So you cannot cross list both Ranch Pleasure and Western Pleasure on the same horse. So a youth could compete in both of those, but they would need to ride different horses. Whereas they could compete on the same horse in all the other district classes. So that would be the only horse stipulation for the district shows. One thing I forgot to mention, and I should have mentioned it earlier, is if you do have any questions throughout this, please feel free to write in the chat, and we'll try to get those answered as we go. Potentially it might be something that'll come up later, but we will get to your questions. Or if you want to save your questions till the very end, feel free to do that as well. Either is fine. Okay, so then I did put this page on here to kind of reminders about level requirements and some specific requirements for classes at the State Horse Show. So all of your in-hand classes, it is required that youth have passed their advancement level 1. And then the other stipulation is you can only compete in 3 in-hand classes. So you could do potentially a showmanship and 2 halter classes, or 3 halter classes if you have 3 horses of those different ages, but only 3 in-hand classes. However, that does not include in-hand trail, because that is considered a level 3 class. So it does not count towards your in-hand level 1 classes. So as far as level 1 in-hand classes, you can compete in 3 of those. Then for your other state classes, level 3 is required for reining, ranch riding, hunter hack, English and Western dressage, your snaffle bit, your 2 and 3-year-old classes, trail, the mini Shetland pony in-hand trail, and then your working ranch horse. So it is new this year that reining, we did move it out of districts and moved it to a state only class. And then with doing that, we did make it a level 3 class. And I know that's disappointing to some, but we're hoping that we made that announcement early this last fall so that people had plenty of time to work on their level 3 if they didn't have it and they want to compete in reining. The other classes on here is, oops, I did not mean to do that. The advanced classes. So your advanced classes are also level 3. The only other stipulation is that you can't ride the same horse you would ride in your level 2 like district class that is the same. So like level 2 Western Pleasure, you could not ride the same horse. And then again in the advanced Western Pleasure. And so the same for hunter saddle, horsemanship, and so on. And then the one level 4 class we have that you need to have passed advancement level 4 is Western riding. The only other thing on here that to mention is there is a stock or cattle fee for competing in their working ranch horse. So that is in addition to the $10 entry fee. So it's $25 to pay for the cattle plus $10 to just as an entry fee. So that's kind of the class requirements. Make sure your youth, when you are entering, that you have competed those levels. We will have the counties verify all advancement levels. Once we get all the entries in, we will sort everything. We will send it back to the counties to verify the youth's advancement levels and the classes that they're entered in they're eligible for, and so forth. The only other reminder, this hasn't changed, but about the 2 and 3-year-old snaffle bit, that they also must complete the pleasure affidavit, meaning that they sign off that they have had no one else work with the horse but themselves, those types of things. We just want to make sure you realize you do still need to complete that paperwork, and that would be something you would turn into your county office with your horse ID form. So the affidavit, because it must be signed, and so we would like an actual signed copy turned into the county office. Okay, so then moving on to our entry process. Let me see. I think there was a question. Let me see what that is before I go on. So can you show a 2-year-old in the lunge line and the snaffle bit? You can show them in the lunge line and the snaffle bit, but you wouldn't be able to show them in any other like riding classes for your 2-year-old. Okay, so we are going to have all youth enter or families enter online, and I will show you the link, and you can get to it from the 4h.unl.edu/horse webpage. But I will show you that process too. So you will be registering and paying for your entries yourself. We would like for county offices to not be completing this, because you do have to sign off that you know the rules and that you verify that you understood what you signed up for. And then once we get the entries in, we will have the county offices verify for accuracy. So to go through this process, here is the website. It's inhorse.fairwire.com, which you can get to from the website. And I'm going to go to this here in just a minute. But one big thing is we will not accept any late entries. So please make sure that you go into the program prior to May 7th and that you completely submit your entries. If there are any empty shopping carts that we see, we might email you to remind you, but we would hope that you go in and complete those. So a couple things, the entry fees for the district horse shows are $10 per class. The state show classes are also $10 per class, and that hasn't changed for the last quite a few years. I already talked about the working range course has the additional stock fee. And then there also will be an office fee of $10, which is covering basically all the credit card fees that are associated with paying things online. It also is going to help with some of our volunteer things that we need to cover, and hand sanitizer and just things like that we're going to have at the show. One big thing though, I do want to make sure to note is there will be no refunds. And part of this is due to the university. It's extremely difficult to go through a process of getting a check written to somebody. So that's one reason. And then the second reason is we hope that you understand what you're signing up for and you realize what classes you're eligible for and those things. So please make sure you double check your entries. If you sign up for something extra that you didn't mean to and you pay, we will not be providing any refunds, which this isn't a change. We've actually been this way forever. We have not done refunds. It's just you've paid to your county offices rather than paid direct to us. So we haven't changed that rule. It's exactly the same as it has been since well beyond me being here in Nebraska. But I just want to make sure everyone understands that if you sign up for something you're not supposed to, or you decide not to attend, there are no refunds. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share and then reshare to go to the website. Okay, so here, once you click on that inhorsefairwire.com, you will get to this page. And this is where you will put in your entries. Move some stuff so I can get to it. So someone asked a question about, can you use your ranch pleasure course in the advanced English and Western classes? Yes, as long as you didn't compete them in the, which you wouldn't have been able to. So yes, as long as you didn't do, I guess, the regular Western pleasure or regular hunt under saddle on that same horse. So as long as it's a different horse. Okay, so once you're on this page, you need to click over here where it says sign in, and then you will choose exhibitor. If you have siblings, like several children in your family to sign up, you could do the quick group, and that would allow you to do multiple entries and then do all of your payment for all of them together if you would like. Or you can do each of your children separately, signing up as an exhibitor. So that's kind of up to you which one you want to do. We don't really have a preference, but that is what that means. So quick group would be if you have multiple people to sign up, exhibitor if you just have one. So I did come through this earlier just to make sure everything worked. So you put your name and last name. So I'm just going to use myself as an example. If you save everything and so you can put a bunch of things in your shopping cart and save for later, and then you could come in here and say, I have previously registered, and click that button. But if it's your first time, you would be a new exhibitor or have yet to register. Or if you forget to save things, you will have to go back in this way. I need to move this up. Okay, so then you have to make up a password, and then you do have to fill out all this information. So one thing I would ask that please make sure, and I actually should have said this on the previous page, is we will pull information directly from this website to put it into the program. So please write your name, like first and last name, with how you would want it announced and written. So please do not put it all in all caps. Please capitalize the first letter of names, those types of things, because then it will be how we would want it to be in the program, because then that will make it look nicer and be more consistent, and it's less likely that we will forget to make the change and fix it. So please type your name in how you want to see it in the program for the show. So then I put in an address to keep filling everything out. I did fill this out already once, so everything's kind of saved in here. I did make up an age because so that I'm actually a youth instead of, you have to pick out a shirt size, whatever size you would want. Your advancement level, I'm gonna say I'm a level 3, so I can sign up for lots of classes. And then click continue. Once you filled all that out, it will give you a page where you can verify and make sure that everything you put in there is correct. Okay, so then once you've gone through that, so here is the actual entry part, and this is where it can get kind of confusing potentially. So here we have either district horse show classes or the Fauna Park State 4-H Horse Expo. So let's say you want to sign up for district horse show. Then for your division, it's which show you're planning on attending. So you would click on which district show, and then it's going to bring up all the classes you can sign up for. So here is one, if you have, let's say you're going to ride the same horse for, let's say our junior hunter saddle and then our junior equitation. If it's the same horse, you can do this all at the same, you can do both those classes at once. And let's say, I'm going to put in the horse's name. So I'm going to ride Sue in my junior hunter saddle and my junior hunt seat equitation. So another thing on the horse name, please put what you would like your horse's name to be on the show program and to be announced. So for instance, my horse at home, his name is Sue, but his actual show name is a boy named Sue. So if I'm showing him, I want him to be called a boy named Sue. So I actually write here, rather than Sue, would write a boy named Sue. This way it will be in the program correctly. Please don't put both names, like the show name and the barn name, when you're entering them on here. Make sure on your horse ID forms, you potentially have both names so that when we go to ID your horse, it does match what's in the program. But make sure in here when you're signing up and registering for the show that you just put your horse's show name or the name you want them called over the announcer. Okay, so I'm going to write a boy named Sue and junior hunter saddle and junior hunt seat deck, and I'm going to add that to my cart. But then let's say I have, I'm at districts, I also have a speed event horse, a different horse. So I'm going to do potentially junior pole bending and junior barrel racing on, let me make sure I clicked on the right ones, on my horse Bingo. And then you would add those to the cart. And you can always see over here on the left, for Burwell Districts, I have 4 classes. And hopefully at the end, you do want to make sure that you have the same number of classes in your cart for how many you want to show in at the district horse show. So then let's say I want to show at the state horse show. And then here we did split these a little bit into different groupings to help make it easier. So you can see here, halter and showmanship. It's a level 1 requirement, and you can do a limit of 3 classes. And here is the list of those classes. And then so you can click on, let's say I'm going to do the junior showmanship with my same horse, a boy named Sue. I'm going to add that to my cart. And then at state, I want to show in, let's say a level 3 class. So here's your level 3 classes. I'm just gonna put my horse on her hat. And then I don't know what else. Let's see. So you could do a level 4 class, which is your Western writing, or if you want to show in those advanced classes, again, there's a little reminder up here, a different horse in your district class. So you could do those. Let's say we want to do, but I have to write a different horse. So let's say we'll run bingo in this one. Okay, so I have all these classes I want to sign up for. So if you are done, you've added all your classes, you've put in your horse's name for all the classes, do double check and make sure that you have the correct horse for the classes you're signing up for. And then when you have done all your entries, you click continue. And then here is your office fee that you have to pay. If you have done the quick groups, you do want to make sure that it is per youth that you pay an office fee. So you would want to make sure that that is set up correctly, which it should come in per youth, but you want to check that. So then once you get here, this is close to the end, but this is where you can see and verify everything you're signed up for. So you can see the name of the class, the horse name that you put in, and so you can make sure that those are all correct with the correct horse that you want, that your total is what it should be. And then you can either right here, save this cart for later. You can empty the cart. You decide that, oh, none of these are right. If one of them isn't correct, you can always go in and click edit and go back and change whatever it is that you need to edit. Or you can always delete one if you entered something twice, or whatever it might be. So then you would want to click check out once you're all done and everything's where it's at, and then it will bring you to the credit card place. And you want to put in your credit card information. And so, you can click use my previous, but then you want to click continue. And then here is a reminder that you do have to sign off on, that you understand the rules that you're signing up for. It also has a little reminder about the class stipulations. And then you do have to type in here, yes, once you've read through it and you understand what you're signed up for and hopefully the correct classes. And then you would click submit. And this won't work because it's not a real credit card. But I just wanted to make sure you could see that whole process of going through. So that's pretty much the process. So I'm going to stop sharing. And then if anyone has any questions, I can answer those now.
Lena, it looks like we have one question. Can one sister ride a horse in pleasure and her sister ride the same horse in advanced pleasure?
No, because we do have those based off of the horse. And so the horse cannot do both classes. And I'm very sorry, I know that's kind of a bummer. Anyone else have any other questions before I let you go? Well, if anything comes up or you have an issue going through the process, please let us know. I would recommend that you don't wait till the very last minute, just in case if you do have some problems, we have time to fix it. However, if you do have a problem, please email us. We will work with you. I do understand sometimes computers don't always work the way we want. So let us know if something comes up and it doesn't work the way you want it. Well, everyone have a good evening and good week. And let us know if you have any other additional questions about the district or state horse show.